In this video, we will create a GUI application with Python Tkinter to update the data in the Firebase real-time database. We will do the project with you from the very beginning. I will briefly talk about the application. There are 4 labels for entries and 1 button in the application. For example, we want to update data with ID value 2. We write 2 to the ID entry object. Now we can update the name, surname and age sections. When we click the button, the data in the Firebase real-time database will be updated. To support us, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the video. So let's start. I will create a Python code file. We can use the code file we created in the previous lesson. I will send the data list to Firebase. Since I will not be receiving input from the user, I do not need this part. I can send the list of data to Firebase using for loop. A random number will be generated for each data member. We learned this in detail in the last lesson. There is currently no data in the Firebase real-time database. When the program runs, data is sent to Firebase simultaneously. I want to show you all the data one by one. Now let's start creating the Tkinter GUI application. I can use the code file I created in previous lessons. I need the custom Tkinter library to build the application. I am copying the appearance, color, window, and size adjustment codes. Finally, I use the main loop function to prevent the window from closing suddenly. We had already sent the data to the Firebase database. I don't need the dataset and for loop anymore. We created an empty window. Let's start creating label objects. I need 4 label objects for ID, name, surname, and age. I send the window name, text, and color parameters to the label function. I add it to the window by sending X and Y values to the place function. The label object has been added to the desktop window. I can create a label for name using the copy-paste method. I am making the necessary changes. I just need to change the Y variable in the place function. The label object for name has been added to the window. I will create a label object for surname. I am making the necessary changes. I change the Y coordinate. Label object for surname has been added to the window. Finally, I create a label object for age. The object has been added to the desktop window. I can make the window sizes a little larger. Let's start creating entry objects. I send the window name and text values to the entry function. I place it in the window with the place function. The entry object for the ID is placed in the window. Let's create the entry object for name. I am making the necessary arrangements. I set the coordinates. The object is placed on the desktop window. I am creating an entry object for surname. The object has been added to the desktop window. Finally, I create an entry object for age. We added all entry objects to the desktop window. Now let's create a button. I send the window name, text and task function values to the button function. I add the object to the window with place. I can create the task function with pass for now. We have finished the design of the desktop window. Now let's design the task function. I need to access the random keys generated for each data member. I can do this with the get function. I can access all keys with a for loop. I can access the values in the key with the val function. If the ID is equal to the ID entered by the user, I will perform an update. I can perform the update process with child and update functions. I can access the keys created for each data member by using the key function. Notice that we get the ID and name variables from the entry objects entered by the user. I do the same for surname and age. Now let's test the project. For example, we want to update data with ID value 2. We write 2 to the ID entry object. Now we can update the name, surname and age sections. When we click the button, the data in the Firebase Realtime database will be updated. Let's update the data set with ID value 8. In this video, we learned how to make a GUI application with Python to update the data sets in the real-time database. To support us, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the video. Thanks for watching.